there's an expression within the West Indian community, yeah, that if you're of my age and you're 40 plus is going up, that goes, you have to work twice as hard as your white friend them if you want to get anywhere in this world.
You're crazy. Am I? Yes. Am I? Yes. Am I?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Lewis Hamilton on winning his
92nd win in Formula One. Records are there to be broken, said Michael Schumacher. The record is broken. Hamilton has more wins than any other driver in Formula One history.
a great achievement. You know what I mean? He's surpassed Michael Schumacher's record. And on the way, he's also surpassed a lot of other records. So he's got, let me have a look on my notes. Now, so 92 wins, 97 poles, 161 podiums. At the present, he's got the most points finishes, and there's a few other detailed ones in there, sprinkled here and there, you know what I mean, that most people don't even know about. Which is all great news for Lewis Hamilton, yeah, which I would say makes him most definitely the best British driver, without hands down, because I think the next person that comes close, I don't, is it Mansell? I think it's Mansell, I think. I'll have to look into that. I'm sure it's Mansell, I think. Right, but even Mansell is like way down the road, right? And yeah, and if he wins this season, I think that would put him in contention for the best Formula One, best Formula One driver to date. Yeah, I wouldn't say, is he the greatest of all time? Well, I don't really kind of agree with that term, because of all time means that time would have to stop, right? But to date, yeah, if he wins this season and gets 7 titles, yeah, then with all of his accomplishments to get those titles, he would most definitely will be the greatest to date, which is all good. You know what I mean? And I take my hat off to him. You know what I mean? I started following Formula One once I saw that he was in it. You know what I mean? I wasn't really too keen. I mean, I love motorsports prior to that, but I wasn't really into Formula One like that until I saw, yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, with all this achievement and all this success, and I will be fair, I would say that the majority of people who do watch motorsports and are British do celebrate along with Lewis Hamilton and do celebrate his achievements and so forth and so on. However, there is a significant number, what I would say, that don't, let's say, share the same, let's say, what kind of word, what can I think of? Sentiment, you know what I mean? No matter what Hamilton does, there's always an excuse for him achieving that was not down to him. You know? You know what I mean? I saw one tweet that made me really laugh, and that whole situation makes me laugh. I mean, there's this one guy. I'll try and find the video. If I can find the video, I'll slot it in. Right? He's gone even as far as to say that other drivers are deliberately slowing down so he could win. I mean, that's proper going far. And I think he was on a anti. If you go on Facebook, there's a page called the anti-Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. But again, there are a number of people, or a significant number of people, who, you know what, you don't have to like Lewis Hamilton. That's not a given. If you don't like him as a person, that's cool. You know what I mean? That's up to you. But to discredit his achievements, right, or to try and downplay or diminish what he's achieved, yeah, is very disingenuous in my opinion. And that's why I started off the video with the quote that you hear from a lot of West Indian people of my age and up, is that you have to work twice as hard to achieve the same result, or you have to work twice as hard as your white counterpart in order to get anywhere. Which, in a way, is true and it's not true, because how I thought of it, or how I think of it, is that you don't physically have to work twice as hard. So I don't think that Lewis Hamilton is literally doing 20 hours compared to, let's say, Bottas, and Bottas is only doing 10 hours. And if you look at Lewis Hamilton's lifestyle, it's one to say that he's more likely, as soon as the race is done, he's on the next plane going on God knows where to go and chill out and relax in the sun, whereas other drivers, they've gone straight back to the simulator and da. So I wouldn't say that on a physical level you have to work twice as hard, but it's the acknowledgement part that I would say that yes, you do. Because again, I looked at, I think it was last year, up until this year, when I looked at Hamilton's achievements, as in like, okay then, who's the greatest driver? If you Google that, yeah, he's not, he'll be there in there about-ish, you know what I mean? But what you'll find, if you put, but there's always some kind of comparison. You know what I mean? So it'll be like, okay then, the top 5 British drivers, yeah, even though Hamilton stands towers above the rest of your Button and your what's his name, Mansell and Stewart and what's the other one? What's his name? Can't remember his name now. Right? They all get thrown into the mix, right, as the greatest of their time and the best, in which he doesn't. You know what I'm saying? In that kind of mad way. And when it comes to kind of things like this, I always consider it that the statement that I opened with has got some merit to it, because you can't be, what I could say, if you're always going to be down, if your achievement as a black person will always be downplayed. So, for example, you'll hear a lot of people say, "Well, he's supposed to win. He's in the fastest car." Right? Yet Bottas is what? Sometimes in a qualifying, Bottas is literally hundredths of a tenth of a thousandth behind him. You know, Bottas has slightly gone over a curb just a bit too much, right? And Hamilton, you know what I mean? So the gap in it is, the gap between Bottas and Hamilton is like a bumper width, yeah. So Hamilton isn't necessarily in the best car. You know what I mean? And in fact, I'd argue that is kind of disrespectful to Bottas, really and truly, because people are saying that, oh, because those people, these are the same people that would say that, what you call it? They would argue that, oh, you know, put anyone in that car and they're bound to win. Yeah, well, Bottas is in that car and he's not winning. So in a way, that's kind of like more of a diss to Bottas rather than a deflammatory way of diminishing Lewis Hamilton. But, you know what I mean? Is what it is. And, you know, when other people, you know, stating that, oh, he never cut his teeth with a non, what do you call it? You know, with a team from the back of the grid, so to speak. And at the end of the day, that argument never made any sense to me, because at the end of the day, if you're a racing company, a racing team, and you go to a track and you see a kid racing around, beating everybody else, beating people twice his age and beating people twice as experienced as him, you know what I mean, coming first, yeah, you're going to keep an eye on that kid. And if that kid at the time has won multiple championships in go-karting and multiple championships in this, that and the other, yeah, you know what, right? It seems obvious that they're going to be fighting to pick him. You know what I mean? So he's always going to be in the best car, and as long as he maintains to prove that, why not? In fact, I would consider that more of a merit to his accomplishment. You know what I mean? The fact that he's been chosen because he's got something outstanding that other drivers don't have, or they've seen something in him that they know they just thought he had just that little bit more than other drivers. And then obviously people don't like his lifestyle, and, you know, oh, he's swanning off here and swanning off there. That's not, you know, he's not doing, you know, he's not being a traditional Formula One driver and just finishing the race, either going back to the racetrack or going and chilling out with their wives and whatever. And his lifestyle's got nothing to do with what he do. And for me, his lifestyle's got nothing to do with what he achieves on track. You know what I mean? If it's what makes him, if it's what helps him to get faster or to maintain his mental agility to be fast, then he does what he's got to do. You know what I mean? But yeah. But again, in this video, yeah, I was just watching some of the videos, some of the kind of like congratulation videos that were going out. And again, it was when I was reading through the comments, and it was a lot of the negative things that people were saying about him, and, you know, kind of just like, well, really? You can't just celebrate the guy's achievement? Because at the end of the day, we know that. Here's another thing that kind of like stuck into my head as well before I go, and that was, had that have been Button, or if that would Paul the rest to winning all those titles, yeah, I don't think they would have gotten. I don't think they would have gotten any of. I don't think they would have got a tenth of the stick that Hamilton gets. Yeah, and at some point, someone pointed out to me, right, that it's not only the fact that he's black why people don't like him; it's the fact that he's black and standing under that bloody British flag, right, every week in and week out. And the fact that he's in the position now where he wants to support other group interest, yeah, as in like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, that is getting up people's goat, yeah, because they consider him to be British, and if he's British, that means he has to conduct himself in a British way, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But as for that, that's all I wanted to say on the topic. You know what I mean? I'm out, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes. Am I? Yes. Am I? Yes.